Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys Rocky 3 Rocky Balboa. Yes, that title sounded pretty much similar to the previous video that Spot just shot. However, this is the black-trunked Rocky Balboa, which also comes featuring his title, his heavyweight title, featured right around the waist there. Down below we have the same Rocky packaging as the gold-trunked Rocky. Down below we have Rocky Balboa from Rocky 3. Spin around the back of the package. Other figures available from Series 1 of Rocky 3. There's the black trunk Rocky, which we will be having a look at. The gold trunked Rocky, which we've already had a look at. A blue and black trunks on Clubber Lane. And again, the facial expression appears to be different between the two figures. Looking forward to getting those as well. Rocky battles the most powerful adversary yet, the ferocious Clubber Lane, after suffering a humiliating KO at the hands of Clubber. It appears apparent that Rocky has lost his edge. Considering hanging it all up, Rocky receives encouragement from an unlikely ally, his old nemesis Apollo Creed. With Apollo's help, Rocky regains the will to win and confronts Clubber in a grueling rematch for the title. I'm sure I don't have to tell you how it ends. And there's the poster there for Rocky 3. Spot's going to take himself a break and get this opened up. Rest assured, though, when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Rocky 3 Black Trunks Rocky Balboa. There's more heading your way. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so let's have a look at Rocky Balboa in his black trunks. He is essentially the same figure as the figure that we've already had a look at. There's gold trunked Rocky. Again, the facial expression, the paint, for the most part, looks pretty much the same to himself, as well as the torso, the lower legs. Even the boots and socks are a recarry or carry over from the original gold trunk Rocky. The one notable exception is the change of colors, swapping now the gold and black for something, well, a little bit more traditional Rocky, perhaps, not counting the stars and striped trunks that he wears as well. He has, of course, now everything kind of really swapped. Instead of the gold with the black tassels, he now has black boots with yellow tassels. Basically, again, the boots are exactly the same. Socks more predominantly black than white, and again, his trunks are now black instead of gold. Kind of an interesting looking belt, though. Let me just move his arms up for a second. Just want to show you what's actually on the belt. On the front, we've actually got the main plate there. But if you look around, it's kind of neat, actually. They put pictures of the other figures from NECA Toys. These aren't actually the characters from the movie. So, for example, you've got Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago, for example, but that's Ivan Drago the figure. That's not Ivan Drago the actual movie picture. Same thing could be said for Clubber Lane. It's the action figure of Clubber Lane. It's not actually the real Clubber Lane. As well, you've got Rocky on the side, and you've got Apollo Creed. So, like, the belt kind of just gives you a whole timeline of events. If you kind of start from here and work your way around for all the champions, that's kind of neat. I like that. The belt doesn't appear to come off. It is loose. Well, it's not super loose, mind you, but it's loose enough that you can feel like there is a separation from his trunks. You could try the means of taking the waist off to take the belt completely off, but it doesn't look like there's a way to detach the belt. Not that I would ever have an inclination to want to actually take the belt off. I probably would just leave it as is. You know, if I want a posed Rocky in an actual fight with Clubber, I'm probably going to put that Rocky in the ring with him. This one, I'll just have him showcasing the title. A nice bright ruby red as well on his boxing gloves. Says tough wear there on the sides. I like that they've also given a sheen to the gloves too, where it really makes them stand out like real boxing gloves would. Speaking of sheen, of course, they've also put that wet coat over top of the skin color of Rocky here, just giving him the sense that he is an athlete. He's got a more wet looking flesh color as opposed to him, you know, again, if he's going to be boxing, you would imagine that this would be more wet than dry, I suppose. Even though we kind of already touched base on the head sculpt, let's have a look at the head sculpt again, which is quite good. It's almost as good as this one. Well, actually, it is exactly the same, so it's the same. This one actually does come across a little bit more wet. The face-wise comes across a little bit more wet, where this face sculpt does come across more dry. Which, again, makes sense. If he's more so boxing here and he's just standing with his title here, it would make sense that the other Rocky would have a more wet complexion to him. Luckily, I can also say, too, that the area with the hair that was slightly missed on the gold-trunked Rocky has been corrected here on the black, which, again, is not necessarily the figures as a whole. That's just strictly the figure that I ended up getting. But an uncanny likeness of Sylvester Stallone. Really a great job, again, on NECA's part. His hair is also sculpted quite nicely as well. Very small little sculpt tools there to the hair. You can imagine that somebody would have sat there and carved this or sculpted this themselves. It's quite phenomenal. The veins also in his arms and in his forearm area is quite nice too. Yes, yes indeed, an overall solid figure. Now, it's not, though, without some hiccups. In fact, if you watch the review of this guy, you'll probably know exactly what the hiccups are with this Rocky. Yeah, it's in his trunks. He does have a ball joint in the head, which moves very easily on its own. A nice ball joint on the torso, which moves, again, very easily on its own. A rotation on the arms, also allowing a hinge there. Has a hinge in the forearm, full rotation there. And he has a rotation also in the gloves. But when you get to the legs, that's somewhat where it gets a little bit more problematic. It seems like there's just a little bit more extra give on these trunks than on the gold-trunked Rocky, but it's still very limited, I have to admit. The legs don't really move all that far out, and moving them back and forth, you can feel a lot of resistance coming from the leg area of the shorts. As for the rest of his articulation, he does have the bend in the knee, which allows the lower leg to rotate. He has a rotation also in the foot, and also possesses a pivot. Now, one thing I didn't mention, though, with the other Rocky, and I forgot to, of course, I'm not going to forget it with this Rocky, is he has an actual toe articulation. If you want to have him more with his foot back, perhaps if he's landing that final knockout punch. Quite good figures, I have to admit. I can overlook the little hiccups with the trunks. I kind of wish the trunks were a little bit looser, just allowing a little bit more freedom where you can move the legs. But other than that small complaint, these figures are awesome. I certainly can't wait to get the Clubber Lang now that we've already had a look at the gold-trunked Rocky and the black-trunked Rocky. Clubber Lang certainly will be next on my list to pick up. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the new NECA toys. This is Rocky 3 Series 1, and this was Championship, I guess, or Champion Belt, Rocky Balboa. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.